Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I'm going to do your May the 22nd spiritual principle a day in a meditation. Hope you're having a wonderful morning. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment down below. As soon as I see your message or your comments, I promise you I will respond. Some of them slip by me, but for the most part, I'm on top of them. Okay, May 22nd, the generosity in being vulnerable. Let's see what it says. Recovery is a gift given freely, passed from hand to hand and heart to heart. That comes from the Guiding Principles book, Tradition 8, Opening Reflection. While it can be easy to think of our traditions as nothing more than rules or guidelines to keep us in check, the truth is that they describe the way our fellowship is able to enjoy tremendous freedom. The NA approach allows us to carry our message in whatever way suits us best. No degrees or specialized training necessary, simply our personal experience shared in our own way. One speaker laughed about our traditions. I heard non-professional and ought never be organized, and I knew I was in the right place. Then I had the experience of sharing a total mess, crying and cussing and crazy, and people came up afterward and told me that they got a lot out of what I shared. Let me repeat that sentence. Then I had the experience of sharing a total mess, crying and cussing and crazy, and people came up afterward and told me that they got a lot out of what I shared. Sharing who we are and where we are, no fronts, no filters, is an act of generosity, especially for secretive addicts like us. Giving other people a chance to glance behind the curtain and see what's really going on can be a precious gift. We are able to do so much for other addicts when we get honest this way. When we tell on ourselves, we let other members see they're not alone in what they're going through. They told me I can't save my face and my behind at the same time, one addict wrote. I realized later that if I try to save face while I help an addict, I won't do a very good job doing either. We never really know which of our words or actions will break through and reach the addict who is suffering. It could be that one kind gesture, a hug, a particular experience shared, or all of them taken together. NA isn't treatment or therapy or any other type of place where professionals can offer a diagnosis and plan. Instead, we share freely the way other addicts shared with us, and we connect with others on a heart-to-heart level. Getting vulnerable when I share opens my heart to other addicts. I will freely give what was given to me, the gift of recovery. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. That is amazing. I think that's an amazing meditation for today, the generosity in being vulnerable. Because being vulnerable is not our first thought. It's something that comes along with time. As our spirit begins to awaken, we see other people being vulnerable. We see other people giving freely from their hearts and their hands. And we say, oh, well, maybe if they can do it, I can do it. When we hear that there's no requirement placed on us to be professionals to be in here. In fact, we're not interested in the degrees. We're not interested in professionalism. The organization that we have is just for running purposes, to make sure the meeting flows well. But there's no real organization in the sense of it being like a business or something in our meetings. And so it's very laid back. It's a place where you actually can come and be very meditative. You don't have to share. You can share if you want to. And when you share, no one's putting a lid on how you share. Now, the group might have a format that requires that you don't cuss in the meeting when you're there, because it might be in a religious facility and they've agreed to that. If that bothers you, then just find another meeting. I mean, keep it very simple. If that's not something that you can do and it's an issue and it goes against the format of the meeting, just find another meeting to go to that you can talk the way that you want to talk. So I'm saying that there are times when there might be some stipulation in the rental agreement in order to have a meeting in a particular facility. For instance, there's this beautiful place downtown that we addicts like to go to for our meetings. And they have a corner property. And they have a requirement about how far you have to be away from their front door, as should all businesses now have a requirement about how far away you have to be in order to smoke. Basically, they don't want you smoking on their property. And if you want to smoke, go to the sidewalk that lies on the perimeter, right? They're just outside their property. And you'll find a group of addicts standing there before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting on the sidewalk, smoking their cigarettes. Now, I've never smoked tobacco or anything like that, but that is one way that rental agreements have to be met when we rent these spaces, right? Unless we have our own space, with our own building, which some areas actually do, but the one I'm in does not. So when we are able to go into an atmosphere and let our hair down, let it go and just be free, we find that we are more open, or at least I do. I find that I'm more open to allowing the process of recovery take place in that time and in that moment, because I'm not worried about a lot of the outside stuff, not worried about what you think about how I look. I remember one time, now anyone that knows me knows that uh I love scarves, right? I love um Ellen Tracy, I think it's Ellen Tracy scarves. I love very beautiful scarves, right? And I have so many of them, and I drape them, I wrap them, I tie them. I love scarves. If people give me gifts, they, should know, if they know me well enough, that I love scarves. But I also love those cheap little scarves you can get that costs $1, maybe $2.50, right? They call them bandanas, right? I love those. I love different prints of those, and depending on what I'm wearing on the weekend, I might just tie one kind of in that set it off look, right? I might tie it around to the back, pull my locks down, and go with it. Now, that is not an everyday look for me. However, it's comfortable. It fits my workout mentality, let's get it mentality. And I will show up in a meeting just like that. Now, I remember a time for some reason, I don't even know what possessed me to do this, but I was engaging my mother before a meeting. And she looked at me and she said, "You go out like that?" I said, "Out like what?" She said, "With your hair tied up with that scarf, you go out like that?" I said, "Mom, I'm going to a meeting." She said, "Oh, I wish you would not ever go out in public like that." And I told her, I said, "Mom, okay, I won't." I lied to her, of course, because I still do it. But I I feel like such a level of comfort when I'm in a meeting, when I'm engaging other people that understand this disease of addiction. because we're trying to become productive members of society. And in becoming productive members of society, there's all of these norms in our individual cultures of what is acceptable and what's not to become a productive member, to participate in producing anything in society. I'm going to show up at the bank or counseling like that, but I know that when I go to a meeting, I'm not trying to impress you guys. I don't, some people come to dress to impress and that fits their personality, but that's not my personality. It used to be when I first got here and for some years, but it's not today. So this ability to go into a meeting and relax, be ourselves, not trying to save our face and our behinds at the same time, but being able to share honestly and not worried about the cross share, not worried about people targeting what you've said. Long as you haven't targeted anyone in your share, you don't have anything to worry about. If you're sharing about you and you haven't said, I need some feedback, you shouldn't expect anyone to give you feedback. It's not normal that people just start chiming in on what other people have shared. Immature people, I don't care how much clean time they have, immature people, right, might try to chime in and piggyback and make a comment about what you've said and not relate any of their personal experience to it. Now, that's just a person targeting your share, and that's a person that is not focusing on themselves. There's no reason for anyone to mention your name in their share. There's no reason for anyone to say, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said because that, I went through something like that. Me personally, I wouldn't do that because I know, no, you're making it sound like you're trying to counsel me. Yeah, people aren't open to that, and nor should you be subjected to it. The atmosphere of recovery is also a gift of recovery that is best exercised in a meeting atmosphere by someone that has some experience with how to make sure the meeting stays safe. My name is Mighty Stream, and today we're practicing vulnerability and talking about how being vulnerable is generous, how it's an act of giving back what was freely given to us. I have enjoyed your company today, and we talked about a lot of things, but all of them good. I hope that you'll have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to talk to you tomorrow.